Imagine a small country overcoming major challenges to become a global hub for innovation. This is Israel, the startup nation. Despite limited resources and a complex environment, Israeli entrepreneurs have built world-changing companies in cybersecurity, AI, agriculture, and biotech. The same spirit of resilience inspired the launch of LatinTech Pitch in 2022. Created by the Consulate General of Israel in Houston and supported by nonprofit partners, this initiative celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month by connecting Latino founders with experienced Israeli mentors. Over 6 months of hands-on guidance, participants can gain invaluable insights into what it takes to build and scale a startup in today's competitive tech world. Despite being one of the fastest growing forces in business creation, Latino entrepreneurs across Texas and the US still face systemic barriers, limited access to venture capital, mentorship, and visibility. Yet against the odds, they continue to lead with innovation, creativity, and determination.
Ody is a civil engineer turned deep tech entrepreneur. His company, Sensytec, has developed a revolutionary smart cement technology that allows concrete to detect changes in stress, pressure, and temperature in real time. It's being used in everything from energy infrastructure to smart cities. He's a LatinTech Pitch finalist, a Houston-based innovator, and someone whose work is literally shaping the future from the ground up. So we have Ody here with us today. Welcome, Ody.
Hi, good to be here.
Can you take us back to the beginning? How did your journey from civil engineering lead to founding Sensytec?
Yeah, so I think this all started back when I was doing my undergrad at the University of Houston. We did basically a project trying to figure out how we can detect performance metrics in cement. After the BP oil spill happened back in 2010, it was a big issue when it comes to those type of infrastructure projects. And so we developed this technology there at the University of Houston to determine those type of factors like issues with pressure, strain, cracks in cement, concrete. And so that was the big picture is to revolutionize the way that we understand concrete and cement, so we can ultimately fix the problems and ultimately mitigate catastrophic failures like an oil well collapsing or a building collapsing or bridge falling. And that was the overall goal, is to be able to solve that problem and overall prevent catastrophic failure.
Today, smart cement sounds like science fiction. Can you explain what it does and why it's such a game changer for the construction and energy sectors?
So the reason why we chose smart cement is a very broad term, and I think overall the concrete and cement is probably the most widely used material globally. Mm-hmm. We build everything with concrete, and it's being used everywhere. And so this game changer, this type of technology is game changing because the way that we've been doing things for millennia or more is very old school, conventional, and really provides little data on how the actual performance of those materials are performing. And so what we want to do here is be able to provide real-time information that allows the engineer or the owners to be able to understand what's happening to their infrastructure. So an example of like what happened in Miami, where a building collapsed, also some bridges fell. Like there were some signs of fatigue and stresses, but no one knows when that's going to overall collapse or what's going to happen, right? And so we want to provide that smart cement technology that allows us to be able to get insights into what actually is happening to the concrete and have the concrete talk to us and tell us, what's happening to it. So that's the overall arching goal with the technology. We've been using this technology already in the field with real customers from the US all the way to Latin America and abroad. So, we have real data, we have real infrastructure projects that we've implemented this technology in, and it's been looking pretty successful. And overall, our goal is to bring this out globally, of course, and roll this out to many other infrastructure projects out there in the world. that need this type of a technology.
So in the long term, could it actually expand the lifeline, not of concrete itself, but say if it needs repairs or something that could be done in an infrastructure building, could this provide that? Or is there an expiration date to the technology? Can you tell us a little more about that? What you can tell us about it, because we also don't want to share all of your secrets.
Sure. So there is some hardware involved. There is some sensor technology involved that, of course, would need to be maintained throughout the process of monitoring the concrete. However, the design of this whole thing was to make the concrete itself a sensor. And that's the whole point around this whole entire technology. And so there really isn't a lifespan on this, because we actually embed using the actual material itself. That's kind of our secret sauce. So the goal, again, is to monitor from during the initial pour all the way through the lifetime of that structure. So it could be 30, 40, 50, 100 years. We need to understand from the beginning how this concrete is performing long term. So yeah, that's what we designed it for, is long term.
Okay, so as a finalist of our 2022 LatinTech Pitch, a Latino founder, what challenges did you face when raising funds, or even getting to know the industry? Or when you were beginning, what were the biggest challenges you faced as a startup founder? Oh,
there's many challenges. I think the biggest one is really trying to, I think the biggest one for any founder is to push and find customers, or adapt to the market, right? That you're trying to build a solution for. Mm-hmm. And I think overall is understanding the customer is probably the biggest missed opportunity in many founders that don't really understand how the market works. And so you really what we've done is try to understand deeply what the customer needs, how do they need it, and then can we solve a problem with our technology doing that.
So you're able to cater your technology to the individual customers. Yes. Are there other things you learned along the way in developing the technology that would be helpful for others? If you were to name the second obstacle you had, what would that look like?
One is just never giving up.
Okay.
There's opportunities. There's always one thing there that sometimes you give up too early. And I think when it comes to building a business, there's going to be ups and downs all the time, and mostly you're going to have downs in the beginning. But it only takes one opportunity to really get you to the next step in your business. And so it's just one thing: just have persistence and have the opportunity to just shade away those negative thoughts sometimes. And
we all get them.
Continue. Yeah, we always get them, and that's part of the life that we live here as entrepreneurs. But I think for us, having those circle as well, a trusting circle around you of mentors and other founders that can help you and guide you through these difficult times that you may have during the founding of your business. I think that's another important factor too. That it's really who you know that can really push you to the next level.
So I have to ask you something, because I know, at least for myself, in the Latino community or in Latino families, we're often sometimes the first to do certain things. So are you the first in your family to be an entrepreneur, or at least in the tech space?
Yeah, I'm the first in the tech space. I have my father, my mother, my brothers are entrepreneurs themselves. But it all started with, of course, my family, my dad and my mom. They had their own businesses here in Houston as they started, and they migrated here from Mexico, and we started with nothing and then built a really good business and supported their families throughout. That's kind of where I was sort of, cultivated in trying something new, and not really going with the traditional small business route, but actually going to something in a tech space that can change a lot of people's lives. That's what really pushes me every day to do something different.
Is this space changing for Latinos, or is it growing, or
it's growing? It's definitely growing. The tech space is growing. I think more and more Latinos are getting away from the traditional small business thinking and going to and moving towards the more larger, bigger enterprise way of thinking. And I was just a part of other competitions that We did like in California, where there's a big push in tech,
Right.
and you have Silicon Valley there and other tech startups there. So it's big globally. I mean, this competition that I went to was just also bringing other founders in from different states, different countries, and I think we need more of that. Is try to basically explore throughout all of the U.S., North America, to bring in more Latino founders and show them that this is possible, and just go to the stars. Basically, that's what we want to do.
What was your first time going to one of those competitions? What was it like?
Oh, it was very nerve-wracking, very scary. I'm not a really good person to present in front of people, but as you go through this and as you know your business, like, it becomes easier and easier. But it was very nerve-wracking. I had a lot of butterflies in the stomach, and and I actually won the pitch.
You won the first time you ever went. That's probably, it doesn't happen often. So maybe you're not that bad of a public speaker.
Yeah, I
quite
won.
Good.
So it was fun. It was exciting. After that, I kind of saw that this is a good opportunity. It gave me good traction, because there was also a prize involved, cash prize involved. But it just gives you the opportunity to just move further and further, and you have further validation.
Were there people that helped you prepared for the competition the first time you did? And who were those people? What did that look like? Oftentimes we talk about a kitchen cabinet, which is, the number of people that you have surrounding you that give you various opinions. So I'm guessing you had your own personal kitchen cabinet preparing you for this.
Yeah.
And what would you say would be the top 3 things that helped you when you were preparing for a competition to pitch?
Yeah.
It's your first time. You're the first time
Very
doing tech.
Scary.
So other than scary, but something had to help you prepare.
Yeah.
So was it the repetition? Was it knowing your product better?
Yeah.
What would you say?
A little bit of mix of everything, really, about the product, the business, the market. Those are all critical things you need to know. But what prepared me is actually a big shout out to the Wolf Center for Entrepreneurship program at the University of Houston. That is where a lot of my personality changed, because they forced you kind of get out of your comfort zone and actually forced you to go pitch and go talk about a specific product and learn about it, the market. So a lot of mentors were a part of that program, and it was about a 6-month to almost a year preparation to get to this point where you were comfortable in pitching your specific product. Because for me, I didn't know really too much about what we were getting into until we really got into it, and so a lot of this comes from also having interviews or talks with customers, because they teach you a lot about the industry, a lot about everything around their specific problems. So you can get a lot from grasping those conversations and learning about specific issues that you may not even know about. So those are one things. And then just, again, preparing and knowing your product is probably the biggest thing, because you can talk about it every day, all day.
Well, I think now you're probably a professional about talking about it. So in innovation, sometimes we don't talk about the resilience piece. And you talked about this briefly, where you said there were many times where you felt like giving up. Was there a moment when you thought about quitting, but what helped you keep going? Your
team that surrounds you is probably the biggest push to keep going, because you as a founder have a big responsibility, not just your family, but also a responsibility in your second family, which is your employees, your other co-founders, and other people that rely on you to really make this work and that believed in you, mentors, investors, anybody like that surrounds you and surrounds your circle. It's a big responsibility for everybody, for the founders. And so when I say about never quitting and having persistence, I mean, that's a big thing. But what keeps you going is the people that surround you and they really try to push you and believed in you, and just keep the message going and keep pushing harder and harder on that.
Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out on your team that kept you going?
Oh yeah, Anna Deep Maddie, Alex Santander, Robert Morales, David, Timothy, like all these guys are a really big part of our team.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Jones was a mentor of ours. Dave Cook from the Wolf Center. Warren Barhouse is another mentor. So a lot of these guys, Kale Kabza is a big one because he's in the construction industry and just really saw us from nothing to what we are now. He's been really helpful throughout. And so a lot of these people bring us together. We try to have at least a conversation with everybody involved at least once a month or once a quarter, just to kind of share the story, share the downfalls, share the upsides, and then how we can plan and strategize better. So that's, bringing the whole strategy and bringing a good plan. It's another thing too that you have to have a team to surround you on that can help you improve and improve the business overall.
So you started this in college, and fast forward to today. Is this where you saw yourself being?
No, I saw myself working, and helping my family business.
Mm-hmm.
That was the overall arching goal as I was going through university and going through college. But what really stuck with us here is how we can have a bigger impact globally, and to do something much bigger, better than what normally you would end up doing. So, this is something way left field. So
now that you've done this, where do you see y'all's future being at? Do you have a 5-year, do you sometimes, I don't know, at least for me, whenever I set goals, I try to envision my life 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And I set my goals and I tell myself, okay, maybe I won't reach all of them and maybe I'll have to edit some of those goals. But is there somewhere you see yourself or you hope to be at in 5 years?
I think for founders, you have to have that long vision, the long-term vision, just to know where you're going or where you're headed. The smaller goals do change every month or every single day.
Right.
You have some smaller goals that change, but the overall arching goal is to implement this technology and roll this technology into globally here, not just in the United States, but other parts of the world that need this type of technology, especially in the critical environments that are really cold or really hot weather. Those are things where we want to get to, and I think we have a much bigger impact in those regions. So that's our overarching goal. I think for us is to continue to do what we're doing, continue to grow our team, and just roll this into North America as quickly and as fast as possible, and then start branching out to other parts of the world that would need this technology.
As you're looking to expand, how can people learn more about Sensytec or contact you if they are in different parts of the U.S. or, this might be of interest to them? What's the best way that they can contact you guys or even just learn more about the product? Yeah,
we're on LinkedIn all the time. We're very active LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. or
everything, whatever they want.
Wherever you can find Sensytec, you can reach out to us and ask any questions you have. Go to our website, sensytec.com. We're based in Houston, and we love to travel, so I would always like to meet people everywhere that we go. Anywhere you can reach us.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So if you guys ever want to reach Ody and Sensytec and learn more about this, make sure to visit their website or reach them on some social media platforms. Mm-hmm. So to wrap this up, and I'll probably have some more questions, but what advice would you give young Latino engineers or founders who are sitting on the next crazy idea like smart cement, but don't know where to start?
Good question. It's a really interesting question because it's really hard to start. But I think the first thing that, if I went back, what I would do is now that we have AI, and before we didn't have that, but we had Google at least, but just do as much research as possible and try to validate the problem is probably the biggest thing. And if your solution can solve a big problem, then I think then you can start to talk to customers, and don't be afraid of picking up the phone and calling people, and cold calling is your best friend, because you never know what doors you can open. Never be afraid of reaching out to others. I think that's one thing too, is that sometimes the Latinos, we're kind of, in a way, egoistic sometimes because we think we know it all.
Yeah, I had a time where I was like, I'm not asking people for help. I'm going to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And then you realize there's actually a lot of people out there who want to help you. And you're like, why do you want to help me?
Exactly.
You know, and sometimes it's because they believe in you, or they believe in what you have to offer, and they want it to see it grow. And they want to see your growth. So oftentimes we got to sometimes humble ourselves or tell ourselves, like, that's not the way we should do it. We should reach out.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay to reach out. It's okay to ask. It's okay to not know something. And it's okay to just ask as many questions as you want that can get to the answer that you're looking for. That's probably the biggest thing. And you know, I had to learn that as I was going through this journey, is that, you're not going to know everything. You're not going to be the smartest person in the room, which is a good thing, because now it keeps you to be more curious and explore new opportunities. And I think that's one thing that you do need to develop as you go in this journey. Is to be curious, to want to know different things and to get different perspectives, because overall the goal is to, grow the business that you're trying to develop, and that's the crazy idea. You have a crazy idea, no one may believe in it, but you have to be the one to believe in it and ask those questions that whether this works or not.
And as a business owner, how many hours, what do your hours look like? That's something I'm always interested in. Do you never know what that looks like?
No, for me personally, I don't have an hour time. I don't even track that because this is what I love to do. And so there's of course, I'm sure the saying is like, you never work a day in your life if you love what you do.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm going through now. Whether it's up or downs that you have, you're going to have that regardless. Even if you work in corporate or other roles that you have, there's going to be ups and downs, and try to make the best out of that. But if once you love something, you never track time.
Yeah.
I can work 7 days a week. Sometimes I don't work at all. I mean, it just depends on the days. But at least for me, is like, I'm always trying to figure out new ways to improve whether it be a sales process, whether that be, the technology, how can we improve the customer experience and make the customer's life a little bit easier. That's really what you want.
And Ody, this one, I don't know if we'll make it on the podcast, but one of the questions I had for you is, a lot of the times people see the business person and they don't always see the person. So is there something you'd like to share with us? Maybe something that's interesting about you, or something that could help you connect with others?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm like super open to, anything. I like to try different things, and I'm very into sports. So
okay.
I love sports. I love cars. That's probably one thing.
Is it Houston sports? Are you for Houston teams mainly? Okay. We just want to make sure, because sometimes I hear like, how about the Dallas Cowboys? And I'm like, come on, y'all. You live in Houston.
No, I'm big into Houston sports, and hopefully we do well. The Texans do well this year. I can't wait for the full season to start. Preseason looks okay. But no, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing is sports. And I love to, be around family. That's probably one big thing too. Having your family support you, and just, maybe sometimes not even talking about the actual business is also a good distraction too. And so, traveling is another thing too. Big traveler.
Well, that's good, Ody. Well, thank you so much for being here today and for the groundbreaking work you're doing. You're not only creating tech that's smart, you're building a foundation for the next generation of Latino innovators.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Appreciate your time.